Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. I thought I'd take a look at the other side of the Israel-Palestine issue, because I was thinking maybe I've come down too one-sided, but I guess mainly that's to do with this idea of occupation of land, and obviously when you see a nation, they're a lot bigger than these terrorist organisations, and so it seems sometimes like the idea of a bully or someone who's bigger, flexing their muscles, as it were. And of course, obviously, because of all the children and the mothers and the non-combatants that were killed, was heavily in number in the Palestinian side. So that obviously makes you draw to defend one side, but obviously have to look at it from the other side, which sometimes you forget because of the aggressive nature of the Israeli government, of how they attack citizens within their own country, which I don't think would be done anywhere around the Western world in the same way. I don't think England and Scotland would do it. I don't think England and France would do it, not in this day and age. Maybe in the past, obviously First and Second World War and stuff like that, but not these days. But obviously the idea of, I didn't know, I was listening to some of the stories of the idea in Israel living in bunkers, like the idea of that bunkers still exist. Obviously, when we think of bunkers, we think of the Second World War, people for air raid shelters, having to hear that sound and hiding from the German planes dropping bombs over London and elsewhere. So that's 1940s, whereas now in 2021 there's still places where bunkers exist in I assume it's Jerusalem, in Israel, or Palestine, whichever one you want to call it. Let's not cause an argument. No, I don't believe in naming things that are not ours, but anyway, the idea of that must be very scary, and obviously terrorism is a very scary thing. It's easy for me to say that maybe they're freedom fighters and, they may have legitimate concerns about the illegal occupation for 46 years of those areas that Israel have taken from Palestine. This whole thing is very murky from the very beginning, but obviously the idea that Israelis having to run to bunkers, children having to be scared, terrorism isn't nice. I know that from here, when there's been incidents of terrorism, whether they are true incidents or whether they're slightly fabricated or not, I don't know, but let's say they do have some kind of truth to them, that people do die, and then the fear is something that comes across to anyone, whether it's real or not, of the, not sure whether there's going to be another, you're going to be the target of a terrorist attack when you go to London or something. And it's a very scary thing. I can't imagine how it would be living in Jerusalem or Gaza, to have either side, whether it's rockets from Hamas or rocket bombs from Israel, either side. Imagine being an Israeli Jew or an Israeli Muslim, or a Palestinian Jew or a Palestinian Muslim, whatever, or Christian. Imagine how that must feel. And obviously I'm sure there's lots of Jews, Christians and Muslims that don't believe in any of Hamas or Israel, the way they're handling this situation. It seems like it's never going to end. It's gone on for a long, long time, and it doesn't seem like any side is really going to give up, because I think they too vested in keeping the things the way they are, and I guess it doesn't affect them killing other people. So I don't know. I don't see it finishing, but when you look at incidents where it's similar, so like the UK and Ireland, South Africa, the only way that these things finish, and they did finish, the South African one is a lot better than, say, Ireland, is actually, unfortunately, through negotiating with the terrorists. No, obviously no government wants to do it, but at the end of the day, the UK government and Sinn Féin and the IRA had to talk, or I think the IRA talked through Sinn Féin, and that was where a peace accord came about. And now they don't have to live with the bombs that are going off in Portsmouth or London or wherever they went off, and obviously in Northern Ireland and Ireland. So with the South African government and the ANC had to talk, and then they've had peace. So, I mean, you can carry on fighting, but how long do you want it to go on for? Same with like the First and Second World War, all wars, I mean, whatever you want to call them. I mean, one day you have to decide, well, let's be better than this. Let's put down our arms and make an agreement. I mean, I don't know why they can't just, I mean, you know, in my eyes, you know, why people can't just forget about who owns this, who owns that, whose name it is, blah, blah, blah. You're all human beings. The names, you never gave these places names. You don't have any allegiance to these places. You're here for 80 years at best. What are you fighting for? You're fighting for your father's dream, which may have no validity to it. You know, some of them will be fighting over the idea of that whoever owns Jerusalem is the chosen one to God. I don't think that really works. I mean, we're apparently, to all religions, we're all God's children, we're all equal in his eyes, so that doesn't really make any sense. Let's kill each other for it. So, I don't know, you know, you don't have to be much of a theologian to understand the Torah or the Bible or the Quran or whatever religious script, to understand that most of them say that we're all equal, we're all brothers and sisters of each other, we're all children of God. So why don't we just get on? You know, okay, what if it does say that whoever owns this means they're in the power? Well, let's own it equally then, and then everyone can be happy. Let's say that if it says in the Torah, if it says in the Bible, if it says in the Quran, that whoever owns Jerusalem is the chosen people closest to God. Let's be humble. Just say everyone owns it, that one place. Let's say all humanity owns all places on this planet, like we truly do. That's the truth. This idea of division and cutting up land is a man-made concept. It doesn't make any sense. If you went on Mars, that's how it was when we were on Earth, when we were all born. It was like that. No one owned it. Yeah, I know it's a hard concept to think about the Earth and to think about this idea of having it in a different way. But if you think about, say, future expeditions to the moon or Mars, at the moment no one owns it, yeah? We all agree that it's nobody's. But in the future, different people, different, you know, Americans, Japanese, Chinese, Africans may go there and start calling it theirs and cutting it up and do the same thing that's happened here. And in the future they're left with that. Now think about that on the Earth, how little sense it makes, and to fight and die over it. Anyway, that's enough for me. Take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.